Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Red Fighting Productions, and the game we'll be playing today is Project Hospital. This is with all the DLCs that are available: Traumatology, Infectious Diseases, Hospital Services, and Doctor Mode, which add at least 4 new departments. We'll be playing here we'll start with a very open lot. For those who want, I have on the free buildings. Patients can die, but I have to unlock all the departments by myself. So let's get to building. I'm gonna start big, I believe. I think I should start big right now. Part 1. I'm gonna occupy this entire left hand. Entire first section here. Obviously let's make it straight. Okay. Good. Build some walls around it. What kind of wall am I gonna use? Probably this one. Let me zoom in a little bit better. So ladies and gentlemen, before we actually get to the fun parts of the game, which is actual training patients, dealing and stuff, there's all the important stuff that has to get done first. Stuff like this, just building your hospital. And obviously we're gonna start first with the emergency department and put some windows, so cause that's wall. But there's like windows and stuff. There's a few windows. This bit of stuff that's not necessary, but just for kicks. Now, I do see I'm gonna build this thing here. This is because we're gonna eventually expand out this way. So I'm gonna already start putting those stuff out. So when I actually start putting down the rooms and stuff, I have spaces for the other places. That just makes sense to me. Like I said, the first thing I'm gonna do is emergency. Now I could build these rooms myself, but I typically wouldn't do that. There is a prefabs. So in this case, we're starting first with emergency. So what we have to go do is go to this section here. First thing we want is a nice reception. Now we can either go for the much bigger reception or we can go for the much smaller reception. I think a much smaller reception is a much better idea. That big reception is just kind of clunky. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think I ever had a situation where I have too many patients coming in like that. No. So I'm gonna put it right here so as soon as you step in, bam. Next to the waiting room. We can go for this kind of this waiting room over here. I think, or we can go for the much square but more services waiting room. I think I'm gonna go with that this waiting room right here, and then probably right here. And let me just quickly do something with this. Go here, build an info machine and a Q machine. Otherwise, what will happen is that you'll have the doctors having to physically walk all the way down here and call patients, which is tedious. Next thing we're gonna do is obviously build a bathroom. I'm thinking about just going for a bigger bathroom right now. Just not so big of a deal, please. No. Then I actually build all the offices. There's 3 different models. You have the bigger one, which, as a general rule, I like to make for my more senior doctor, like a senior doctor. They will have this room. Then you have the model number 2 over here. And then you have a couple much smaller models. Like this model here, which I'm gonna put here. Next thing is a common room, which is basically like a room where the doctors and the staff hang out. where did I put this? I should put this in. No, I don't want them so close to where the patients are. That'd be kind of weird. I'll put it down. Here's gonna be another reason for that in a second. I'll put that there. And the cleaning closet, we're all janitors there, obviously. So there's no reason. No, I'll just put it here. Space. No, I'm gonna immediately go towards radiology. Now I don't have to do this right now, but this is something that makes sense in this one department. Radiology is X-rays, coronary angiography, CTs, MRIs, that sort of stuff. Makes sense just build those because you will eventually need them. If you don't want to be guessing, especially once you get more departments and you can't automatically guess. To do that, we're gonna do a CT room. I'm sure you can notice the door here. I'm gonna fix that door in a second. I tell I'm actually not gonna be able to key that door there, so I'll remove this door and I'll put the door. What was it? These double glass doors. I'll put the door maybe here. Obviously, radiology is getting its own waiting room. Prefabs, where's the waiting rooms? Right. Radiology getting its own waiting room, Paul, small one, right? Here. Good. So those are those two things. I could put later ones. I could put the later parts of radiology down there eventually, but it's not like I'm in a rush to do. So just need to radiologist, and I'm going to need a janitor closet for radiology as well. Otherwise, it's gonna get dirty because the department janitorial services only clean their department usually, or they might get around to other rooms if they have a lot of time, and within one place they're not gonna have too much time. So this is window here that I put. There's not much of a reason for this window to be here again, because the window's right here. That's a stupid place for window. So let me just delete this window. Good. Okay, so this is the other view of this area. Now this looks fine for me, kind of a smallish setup. I'll take all this room over here. When I finally expand, I could just put that there. But we're just gonna go here and we're gonna start hiring doctors first. First I'm gonna hire receptionists. I'm gonna go in that order. I'm actually gonna flip back to this way. Hire them. Register this lady. Hire night girl. And this lady. Cleaners. Usually for me I don't have much of a either or kind of thing. But cleaners, their specializations for actual janitorial services doesn't matter to me. So I can hire who I want to hire at this point. It doesn't really bother me either way. Now, this runs in for my chief doctor. So I want a person who has advanced diagnosis. It's something that is not the biggest deal in the world, but it's kind of helpful. That's gonna be lexical. No. Over here, I'm gonna hire intern. This is the one thing you're gonna notice about doctors. Doctors, emergency room, these doctors' offices here are the only persons who can afford to, who can actually hire interns, which are really young doctors who have to eventually increase in specializations, which will eat into resident, then attending, then fellow, then specialists. So what you're going to eventually want to do is, aside from maybe one or two doctors in your emergency doctor's offices set up, if you're going to have if you have like 5 or 6, what you really want to do is have about 4 of those being interns. So you can, once they specialize, you can send them to different departments, all the departments over here, hire new ones, and it goes on. It's sometimes cheaper than hiring new doctors in those departments who are not interns. And also just for story purposes, basically. you have your dollars progressing all the way up, which kind of is cool for story purposes. So this area is fine immediately, so I can do this. I'm not going to open it just as yet, because I'm going to put it in place, because there is a way to get a grant when you open it shortly enough. So right now we're not going to do this yet. So we're going to go down to, we're good here, ready. I say now we can start. So let's go up to increase speed. And you can see all the night shift people who we hired. Just leave. And we have our first set of patients. They're gonna go all the way down to reception because that's one of the same. But oh, I was wrong with that scenario. So he goes here. Now I could control. I'm just gonna control this one. Just because, just to like kind of show you. But it's not something that's required. You see, he has chronic fatigue syndrome, so I could just easily say that and then get him out of the room. But he has 2 additional symptoms, so I want to perform an evaluation and just a speech listening pattern. That could give us the answer we need. Again, we already know what's wrong with him, but we don't know all. We only have 7 symptoms. No, we know the 7 symptoms. All this sort of stuff. So we're gonna click this, and then boom, 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 boom. We prescribe all the various drugs. Now, usually I like to prescribe as much as possible so I treat all the symptoms. The AI doesn't necessarily do that because it's not necessary. And now we just click it, send to your patient home, and you get your money there. See, you get paid. You can always see how much money it is. In this case, it was $80, and see you get your first government grant. So jackpot. And the eye doctors are doing their thing. See, the eye doctors already basically treated this person already, and then boom, more money again. And then just keeps going on like that. See, this part here, the nuclear diagnosis. This becomes a reason why you need to have additional things like CTs or the sort of stuff that is required from other departments, in this case radiology or medical labs. Those are the 2 additional departments that usually will help you with these things. But a trick to notice is that look at the departments you have already open. Because patients are not going to come to your hospital if you don't have that department. You have lactose intolerance, which is treated by emergency, or you have Crohn's disease treated by general surgery. Now, we both know there's no general surgery here. General surgery is not highlighted, which means we don't have it already. Therefore, we already know the person only has lactose intolerance, so we just treat lactose intolerance there. That's the easy way when you're in the early game to just diagnose patients, even though your doctor themselves can't do it because not at that level just yet. Common sense just tells you. And you see now we have insurance companies. There are 4 insurance companies we can have at our hospital at any one time. Okay, click on that. In this case, we have cheapo care already and we have uninsured. Basically, once we can access and that gives us more patients, who also give us more requests for more grant money. In this case, cheapo care to cheapo care. Once it's open radiology clinic, now we can easily do that in a second. Watch this. Bram. $30,000 grant. And bram. So what you're gonna see happen now is that once you start getting patients who have certain issues, you see these things, it becomes available for us to use. More treatments are available. In this case, we're not gonna need it. However, you see X-ray upper limb is available as an option. You will start to see people being sent X-rays if the doctors, in this case, feel as though it is required for these people to get X-rays. They will get sent for X-rays. And just treat that there and get them moving. One of the good things about this is that you can choose how involved you want to be in the day-to-day things. For example, I can be very involved in the operations of the hospital. I can choose to diagnose patients myself. Or I can just let my doctors do it and only intervene if A, they mess up, or B, I feel it looking at certain patients. The other thing, the reason why I hired a receptionist, this Jennifer Barkley lady, as you can see here with Miss Garcia, already going in to the already going into the doctor's office, we already figured out a single symptom. That is because of this triage and reception. Now, in this case, it only didn't defend to give anything what was going on there. But in some cases, you can feel the entire problem by just having a good receptionist. So she's going to Dr. Linda Cole, or Dr. Liz in the main office. Now, again, I can let her handle this, or what sometimes before the patient gets in the office, let's set out a list of treatments, for example. We know she has breathing problems, so obviously you have to give her the bronchodilators, which are the medication for the symptoms. But then besides that, you want to do a temperature measurement, a physical examination. We are probably not going to need to do this because we already found out she has breathing problems. These two things, blood pressure. This pulse oximetry is a new treatment that is now available because of the new DLC, so I've actually never used it before. So we're just going to put it here. And if we wanted to, we could sign for a check tax for. However, with this 7 treatments, I believe we should be able to figure out what's wrong with her. Pretty simple. See, you're just knocking off ready. Boom, 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 boom. We basically know what's going on already. This also is a new diagnosis that is only available in infectious disease. So again, we right now she has the common cold. So again, we don't need to do all this. So therefore, we're just going to knock off all these things here to make sure we have all the symptoms, which we do. So now, just prescribe all the treatments, and then that person should be gone. Boom. Gone. As you can see, looking at finances, you would notice obviously we made $4,000 so far in the insurance claim. All of these 8 patrons we made. Plus, obviously, we have our grant money. Medical labs, and radiology, as well as obviously administration, so far as I can remember, and also pathology later on, do not make money because those are additional. Those are the services which aid the actual treating departments, which are emergency, general surgery, internal medicine, orthopedics, cardiology, neurology, and these ones here. You can see that. So we're right now have 10 patients in the day. Now, we have a single night shift order, which means we can open at night. Usually at night, especially at this stage, you don't get that many walk-ins. So a lot of times at night, I just click on this, which just speeds it up. So it just goes boom, 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 boom. So now we're at night. Obviously, you might see 1 or 2 patients, but for the most part, it should be fine. So let's look at what we're going to talk about. After this first day, obviously, we got 10 patients through. The hospital did well. Now the next stage is obviously going to be expansion, opening stuff like medical labs, all these events that happen. We're gonna have less patients now, which is really not cool. Which will affect our money for the next couple of days, but also means we have less people coming to us, which means less work on our tree things. So we have 2 patients here. This patient here. So the doctors can pretty much just go through some of the basic stuff they do. We're just gonna give them a couple options. Do some stuff like that. Just see what's going on. So first has sinusitis. And so you just treat them with all these things. And get them moving. Just boom boom. Gone. Next person doing some examinations. Now again, we could do x-rays. Obviously now something else you will notice is that, for example, I initially did not hire an x-ray person for night shift, so we're gonna have to hire one now. So Robert Walker will get hired. And for just kicks at this point, we're just gonna do all 3 x-rays. Because why not? Obviously we're probably not gonna need all 3 x-rays, that would be kind of strange, but in a realistic sense. So you see, just comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes. I'm looking for at least one new symptom. See, you know, I feel he had a chest contusion, is basically a bruise. When the other. You know, she's treating a new patient. Another thing to mention is that obviously the night has gone today. Another thing to mention is that certain examinations have a worse effect in terms of discomfort. For example, this has medium, meanwhile self-S has none to low. So it all goes on to your patients. Things like satisfaction or discomfort. All sort of stuff is based on the examination you prescribe and the medications you also prescribe to them. That sort of stuff is very important in that regard. I'm just not gonna say off. Like, you guys think we're done there, so just start prescribing your treatments and get them moving. As for you, you're sorted out. And just go. Let's go. Let's do X-ray. And again, we can do a CT scan if we want to. That's it, because the other thing you want to notice is that even though you can treat certain things without having to go through certain things, for example, I probably don't have to do a CT scan, but for the purposes if I have a CT, a fully fledged CT machine with a person that is currently being hired to be our CT operator, for me, sometimes you have to use the machines you already have at your disposal. Otherwise, they're just gonna be there doing nothing on your books. So in this case, just use the CT machine to treat this patient. Now again, it might give us the answer, it might not give us the answer, but it's more to the fact that we have it there. You need to use it. That's how I see it. No clear diagnosis. So you have multiple options here. You can look for stuff that are down emergencies, for example, bronchitis. Looking at the list here, bronchitis is the only thing that is emergency only. So you just give me antibiotics and call that a day. Later on, this is the reason why you have your first examination rooms like CTs, and also later on the medical labs, which be stuff like blood work and that sort of stuff. They can help you And that's the other thing is that obviously this doctor here has this ability called advanced diagnosis, the advanced diagnosis specialization, which gives her the ability to use differential diagnosis, which is a way of finding out what the issue is. It is a skill that obviously you have to pick up at least a fellow, which she is the 4th tier to get. And so sometimes when you're assessing patients, what you can do to use someone is transfer patients from, say, this intern who isn't that good, really and truthfully, to this doctor who has a better chance of treating them. Later on, you will have things like observations, that other basic stuff, but when you're just operating with strictly doctors and experts in this case, or doctors and this stuff, then it makes sense to utilize different diagnosis if need be. You see here, a patient is about to leave because they've been waiting too long. Usually you have a little bit of advanced warning kind of thing. So hopefully this doctor here is able to knock through. Before she gets really upset. But in some cases what you can do to alleviate is to see if we have an additional doctor's office just here doing nothing. We can hire a new doctor. And again, when you look at stuff like traits, for example, she's a diagnostic genius, which means extra talent, and she also has clean feet, which makes it easier for janitorial staff. So we'll hire Dr. Lisa Young. Another thing I forgot to mention, something you should always do is build corridors. It has to do with like the cleaning of stuff because, again, these are emergencies. They are emergency department janitors. So they clean stuff first that belongs to the emergency and then anything else later. So when you have much bigger hospitals with all sorts of rooms and all sorts of different departments, schools are pretty swamped in all their places. Building corridors, which are part of the emergency department, mean that emergency doctors are actually going to get to them at a respectable time, which helps keep your hospital clean. See, simple stuff like this just works. You normally do it directly in front of a room belonging to your department. That means similarly for radiology, I can just do the same thing, making a radiology corridor in front of these things. Good. Now, some people might have noticed that this common room tends to be the same emergency. However, what I've noticed is that the common rooms are a room which they're common. So, while yes belong to a department, people from other departments can and will use them. Because it's just a room for them to relax. The same thing with bathrooms. I don't need to make each bathroom per department. You don't need to do that. However, waiting rooms are very important. Otherwise, you will send a patient for like an x-ray or blood work and then they will just leave because there's no room. Which, believe me, is annoying. And reception, for the most part, it's not mandatory to have more than one reception because the more departments you get, a lot of the times the patient is not directly going to say general surgery or saying they go to emergency and then they're referred to by one emergency room doctors to that department. So yeah, I'm just see if we can speed through. I'm in this episode once this day shift for day 2 happens. And next episode will probably start at the beginning of day 3's day shift. I don't need to show you every single thing, but once you have made a decision, you will see those. So we're just not gonna knock this through. See, 15 patients a day means more clinic patients files, which means obviously more money, more experience for doctors, that sort of stuff. So your janitors are cleaning. In this case, they're cleaning there. Another thing you can do is I can easily repile. See room where they'll sit is, I mean, obviously alright, it's done. But one thing I'll do before it goes that, for example, I can place 4 tiles. I don't need to place 4 tiles, but they're just a cosmetic thing which I do sometimes. So colored medium tiles in green are gonna be like the first half area. So from here to about here are gonna be in there. Now we're gonna go right like laying on flooring tiles. Again, these are free to put on this stuff, just cute little stuff that seems fun to do. Again, I'm gonna have to do a little more interesting like this. And for this last part, I can do some hardwood flooring. Obviously, there's no color to hardwood flooring besides obviously hardwood. So let's just do that. Now, I could just very easily say one department is this, one department is that. It's not mandatory to do. So it's not something that really is gonna change much for me. So again, there's that basic stuff. So next episode, like I said, we'll start days freeze day shift, and so then hopefully we might start expanding and adding in some more stuff. But until then, I'll see you guys later, guys. Thank you for watching episode number 1, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.